Hey y'all. I wanted to share with you a couple things. My thoughts on like what I see a lot, especially on social media. And I wanted to share with you what I wrote in my journal and what was revealed to me in regards to this. And I wanted to address a serious issue that I see that we don't talk about in the body of believers, I feel, and it's comparison. Like comparing our lives comparing our lives to other people. But I feel like what's not being said, so like we see it on a surface level, right? Like, oh, she has a car, she has a house, I don't have a car, I don't have a house. It's kind of like surface level. But then something I feel like we don't talk about is when God tells us to be obedient and we are obedient, and then we feel like we don't, if we're told to give something up, then we don't get that something back. But when somebody else is told to give something up, that person gets it back like tenfold, right? And a lot of times when God is requiring you to be obedient, that includes giving up something. And if you're trying to be obedient to God and you're giving up something, but it's like, okay, I gave this thing up and it hasn't been restored, you feel some type of way when somebody else does the same thing and it's like it got restored for them. If that makes sense. I hope that makes sense. I feel like we don't talk about that. One of the reasons is because if you do mention it, people look at you like a hater. Oh, why you hating on me? Right? You're just a hater. You should just be happy for me. And it's not that you're not happy for somebody. It's just that I feel like it's human nature. I feel like it's the flesh speaking. It's human nature to be like, okay, like I'm happy for you, but dang, like that can't happen for me as well. It's almost like people want you to be happy for them and to just completely disregard what you're going through in your own life, right? It's low key be feeling kind of selfish sometimes, but we can't talk about this because again, you're gonna be called a hater. And I'm experiencing that like now as we speak. And I just wanted to share with y'all like what I wrote in my journal today. And I even labeled it transactional relationships. And it's a little long, bear with me, but this time I'm gonna read the whole thing. I thought of reading some of it, but I was like, I'm gonna read the whole thing, so please bear with me. It's a bit long. So at this point, it just feels like I'm reading my journal entry. At this point, it just feels like I'm being brought to my knees on purpose. I feel like Satan has been allowed to attack me. I feel like Job. Things seem to have gotten worse and worse for Job, but with Job, he didn't sin. I admit I did get a bit sarcastic and reckless with the things I said towards Yahusha. And just for context, yesterday night, like I was boohoo crying with just things that are going on in my life because it has truly been a tough season for me. So just for some reference. But I also repented, but it's just frustrating. I feel like he's just watching me suffer. And I know that he has the power to move in my life, but he's choosing not to do anything. And Yahusha isn't obligated to move on our behalf, but it makes me feel like he's okay with me suffering. And then this is what was revealed to me. Job lost everything, but Yahusha restored it. Maybe I've developed a mindset that if I lost something, then it should be restored. That's not the right mindset because that's not always the case. Just because we give something up doesn't mean that something will be returned to us. I think about my military career and how I was getting paid good money. Yahusha told me this isn't of him, so I gave it up. But I have yet to get hired by a job that pays the same or more than what I used to get paid. And I felt slighted. I feel like I gave up more than what I got back. But that mindset is very transactional. If I do something, then I should expect something in return. We do this in our relationships with people. if we do something for them, they should do something for us. We develop a transactional business type of mindset. We develop this mindset, and then we try to have a relationship with Yahusha. I feel like I've developed the mindset with Yahusha. I feel like I've developed this mindset with Yahusha because I feel like I've given up so much. I've been obedient. He was leading me to give these things up, and I wanted to be obedient. So I gave these things up, but I feel slighted because it's like I didn't get anything in return. So now I'm questioning Yahusha and his goodness. Other people give up their job and they get a new one and better paying one. But when I did it, I got one that was lower paying. And then I posed a question to myself, and I asked myself, what's the problem with this mindset? And then I said, I don't recognize that the blessing isn't in getting a better job, better paying job, etc. The blessing is in me being obedient in Yah's word. I had the opportunity to show Yahusha that I was obedient. That was the blessing that I've been overlooking because I was comparing myself to other people. When Yahusha originally told me that the military wasn't of him, I wanted to be obedient. I wanted to show him that I could uphold his word. I didn't have the mindset of, if I give up my military career, then I will get a better career that pays more. I didn't have that transactional mindset. I just wanted to show Yahusha that I could be obedient and uphold his word. However, over time, I've started to feel slighted. It's been a few years since being out the military, and I have yet to be hired by a job that pays more. I feel like I've been slighted only because I've compared my journey to others. And comparison is truly a thief of joy. I've lost sight of why I originally chose to walk this path, to be able to serve the Most High without thinking that I need something in return. I feel society has us thinking that if you do for someone and they don't do for you, then you're the one being played or getting finessed. I wish we could realize that giving to others without expecting something in return is freeing. I actually enjoy giving and not feeling trapped in this mindset that if that person doesn't give back, I'm getting ripped off. Perhaps that's what Yahusha wants to free me from. I think I took on that mindset without knowing. I'm glad he brought it to my attention. I know at the end of Job's story, he was restored double for his loss. And I do believe that Yahusha restores what we've lost, but I must realize that I shouldn't expect that. I shouldn't expect it, or I shouldn't expect that. The blessing is always in the obedience. I must stop overlooking that. And even when Yahusha does restore what we've lost, it may not come how we were expecting. At the end of the day, my thoughts aren't his thoughts, and his thoughts aren't mine. Satan is the accuser of the brethren, just like he, was accusing Job. Satan said, the only reason why Job was being obedient was because what Yahusha had blessed him with. Satan accused Job of having a transactional relationship with Yah, not an authentic one. But despite the trials, Job remained faithful. He remained committed. I strive to have the same mindset as Job with actions to match. So that's what I wrote. It was a lot, I know. But I wanted to share that because I'll be transparent with y'all. Sometimes I really do feel like and it's not even like just the military. I feel like I've given up, first off, my career. Get it together. I'm not finna cry in this video. Giving up my career, my thought of how I want my life to go, and just a whole bunch of other, relationships, etc. Possible opportunities, though I know those opportunities might not have been completely, for Yah. I probably have to go against him to, have those type of opportunities. But I've given up opportunities. I feel like I've just given up so much. And when I look at other people, and it's so easy on social media to do it, when I look at other people and I see them give up something and then they get that something right back, or it's better than what it was before, I start feeling some type of way sometimes. Because a part of me is like, I'm happy for you, sis. I'm happy for you, bro. And it's usually with other women. I don't know. I feel like women look at other women, compare themselves to other women versus men. So for me, it's usually other women. And it's like, I'm happy for you, sis. Like, I'm genuinely happy for you. And then I start looking at my own life and it's like, dang, like, I know God is good. I know he's powerful. I know he can change my life like a snap of a finger. I don't doubt that at all. So why isn't it happening for me? And I feel like when we want to talk about something like that, you're seen as a hater. Like, oh, you just hating. Oh, you just hating. It's like, no, I'm not. But I realized that, like, the mindset that I had and didn't know I, was possessing was very transactional. Because think about it. If I do this for you, God, if I'm obedient to you, God, then I expect you to restore something in my life. And the reality is we should be obedient to God regardless if that thing comes back to us. Because the blessing is in the obedience. When I gave up my military career, or like was in the process of giving that up, I wasn't thinking like, oh, if I give up this military career, I'm gonna get a better career on the outside. Like, I was doing it because I genuinely wanted to be obedient to Yah's word. Because I knew, well, once he revealed it to me, I knew that this was not of him. I had confirmation after confirmation. So I went about giving that career up because I wanted to be obedient. But it's funny, I've been out for a few years and I have yet to be hired at a job that pays more than that, that's better than that. So it's like, dang, like, I feel like I didn't get a return on my investment, and I shouldn't have that mindset. And who's to say that I won't get a job that pays more? I'm not saying that. And I'm not saying that y'all can't restore what we've lost, but we shouldn't go in with the mindset of, if I do this, then he should do that. Or if I do this, then he's going to do that. Because that's not the reality for everybody. When we have that mindset, it's very works-based. It's very transactional. And this is why a lot of people leave the faith. There are people who left relationships that God told them to get out of, and they're married the next year. And there are people who left relationships that God told them to get out of, and they're still single years later. We shouldn't go in with the mindset of, I'm only doing this to get something out of God. We should go in with the mindset of, I get the opportunity to serve him. I get the opportunity to be obedient to him. Because when you do that, first off, it's very freeing. And second, I feel at peace now. I can be happy for somebody and not look at myself as like inadequate because, something I feel like I've lost isn't restored. Because it doesn't mean that it's never going to be restored. It's just not restored yet. And even if it's not, and even if it doesn't, the fact that I got the opportunity to be obedient to Yah's word, that's the blessing. And I've been overlooking that. So no wonder I've been feeling very anxious about things. But I just wanted to share that with you guys. Just be mindful that we can't have a transactional relationship with the Most High. The blessing in having a relationship with him is us having the opportunity to serve him. Point blank, period. Whether that thing is restored or not. So I just wanted to share that with y'all.